I'm Victor Spinetti, and the film you're about to see is a collection of very special and enduring personal memories of encounters with the Beatles on their magical mystery tour.
The meeting at Paul McCartney's house came only a few days after Brian Epstein's death, which was over August Bank Holiday weekend in 1967. And a lot of people thought it was rather callous that Paul seemed to be sort of putting work before everything else so soon, when it hadn't even been a funeral for Brian Epstein. It wasn't callousness. He had some very good reasons, actually. And the main one was to keep the group together and working. He feared that in the wake of Brian Epstein's death, that the Beatles would clear off to India to the retreat of the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the giggling little guru who was teaching them transcendental meditation, that they would go off to India with him and never come back together again as a working band, were his words to me. It was his baby. Magical Mystery Tour was Paul's baby all the way through, but the hidden agenda that he had was not just to produce a film for television, but in fact to launch himself as a producer of film. He hoped that at best this would be the beginning of a new phase for the Beatles, that he would lead them now away from touring, which they had stopped the previous year. Concert tours were out of the question, but to lead them away from simply recording in the recording studios to making movies, because he figured that if he was able to send a movie around the world, a feature-length movie to be shown in theatrically in cinemas around the world, those tours of the film could replace the concert tours, which had been so lucrative in the past several years, but more to the point had also kept up the interest in the Beatles.
Mike McCartney recalls its zany origins.
The first time that I saw anything called Magical Mystery Tour was going into our kid's house in London, and there's a round circle. And I said, what's that he'd drawn? I said, what's that? He said, oh, it's a film called The Magical Mystery Tour. I said, looks like a round piece of paper to me.
He showed me this now famous clock face or cake or whatever you want to call it on a piece of paper, where he had drawn very carefully segments of the programme that he planned called Magical Mystery Tour, and it was all cut into pieces of the cake, and he said it was because he wanted to give each of the Beatles an adequate chunk of it to do what they liked with.
When all the segments are done, filled in, then we've made a film. I said, that's a good idea. I like that.